inviting us. This is fun.
Yeah, this is so great.
you.
And we have such a full house here. I feel like before we get right to it and get into some of the spicy questions, maybe spicy. That's what we got that word. Maybe you guys each want to just speak to the audience a little about your most recent book and sort of what brought those ideas out for you guys to get the pen to paper for it. Specifically being stuck away with someone in a confined space or situation, and why that was sort of important in telling the stories.
We didn't write that whatsoever. I don't know what you're talking about. we write thriller and mystery, right? Who's gonna kiss who? I guess I'll go first. Thanks, guys. You got it. My most recent novel is Sounds Like Love, which is about a burnt-out songwriter and a has-been musician who find themselves inexplicably telepathically linked when they can't get a song out of their heads. So they're telepathically linked, and there's a lot of shenanigans, and it's set in the Outer Banks, which who doesn't love a good beach read with margaritas and a guy you can't get out of your head. So.
My book, It's a Love Story, is about a former teen television star who was basically the butt of every joke on the show when she was growing up. And now she's all grown up, and she's trying to be taken seriously as a producer in Hollywood. And as the story starts, she's about to have her big break. Her big film is about to be greenlit. It's her first one. And the whole thing starts to fall apart in the meeting, and she tells a big lie to just buy herself a little bit of time. And she basically spends the rest of the book trying to make this lie true, to get her film greenlit. And she can only do so with the help of the one guy that she cannot stand most in the entire world. And his name is Dan Finnegan. And he is my favorite fictional man, including all the real men that I've ever known of all time. And I did.
It's pretty good your husband's not here.
I don't invite my husband to these things. It's like he doesn't need to know. But I mean, if you read it, let's talk about it. I love Dan. But I did have fun putting them in a confined space together. For a week, they are sharing a room with 2 twin beds. There are actually 3 beds. It's not a 1-bed situation. But
too many beds.
There is one too many beds, and then it all ends up with one. But I love.
Spoiler alert.
I love that situation.
Yeah, for sure. I need to say, in regards to Dan, one of my favorite characters that I've read was actually his brother Brian, and just fun fact here, I actually DM'd Annabel, and I was like, oh, we need something more on this Brian guy, because it looks like he needs to settle down a bit. I feel like a spin-off coming.
You guys, just to keep you up to date, Brian is still single. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Shocked face.
Yeah, let's see how this goes.
Forced proximity is what we call it when we want to shove these characters together to make bad choices or good choices. Hi. Okay, my most recent book was 7 Year Itch. It's book 2 in my Mountain Men Matchmaker series, which is a series about 3 brothers who all live on a mountain compound in rural Colorado. I was obsessed with 7 Brides for 7 Brothers growing up. I don't know if anyone's seen that musical. It is highly problematic. These brothers all go to town and kidnap women to force them to live on the mountain with them. They literally create an avalanche to trap them on the mountain so the townspeople can't get up to save them.
Now that is love.
So I was like, man, inspiring stuff here. I think I can roll with this. So yeah, I guess I'm doing my own modern take on that. No kidnapping in mind, because I keep it pretty light. But there's some good spice, and yeah, it's a fun series to write.
That should be like a trope where it's like, oh yeah, avalanche to seclusion pipe.
The micro trope. It's like one of the little arrows.
I love the term forced proximity, and I know the reason why most people develop relationships, whether it's a friendship or romantic or anything, is because you're doing the same thing over and over and seeing the same people. So it's like someone maybe you meet at a yoga class, you're meeting at your local cafe, and whatever your sort of actions are, you work together, and that's why there's all these office romances and blunders and all this stuff, right? So why for you, let's start with you, Ashley, like why is forced proximity very helpful in this sort of genre?
It's a good shorthand to bring two people together. And it's one of the like main staples in the romance genre as just like, broadly. And like we all like, being forced to like work with like your mortal enemy, right? There's something lovely in that. And there's so many different like micro tropes in that trope that you can play with. You can play with like power dynamics. You can play with like friends to lovers or like enemies to lovers. It's just like there's just like so many different juicy things you can do with forced proximity. That I think a lot of it actually stems from fanfic and like fanfic tropes, and that's why we talk about like tropes now so openly, is because of the AO3 fanfic tags, which I'm not going to ever begrudge because I love AO3. AO3 is Archive of Our Own, which is a fanfic website, and it's Hugo Award winning. So it really is. Like, it is actually Hugo Award winning. But yeah, that's kind of why I love forced proximity, and just because like there's like so many like neat kind of like fun dirty things you can do in like a locked room together. It can be, yeah, I know exactly how that sounds. Don't worry, guys. But yeah, no, there's like a lot of things, like that's why everyone kind of like, so one of the, I was a theater kid back in the day, and so one of the big theater plays we did was Plaza Suite, and it was like people locked in a room together, or like one person locked in a bathroom, and then everyone else has to like due to that one person, they're all in a forced proximity together. So there's so many different like ways you can do forced proximity.
Yeah. As a reader, what's so nice to read in those situations is seeing how they navigate it. And then, of course, with romance, it usually tends to work out. And it's always like that nice reminder that, okay, you could make things work if need be, or if you give people a chance. Having said that, in all of your books, there's sort of like that frustration at first. There's a lot of like, I don't want to say rudeness, but like maybe name calling.
Enemies to lovers, baby.
Enemies
it's
to
like,
lovers.
It's a lovers.
What is it about the enemies to lovers that we're just like, we almost want to see the bad so bad at first to make the sweet so much sweeter?
All, really. It is actually the beauty of the beast of it all, right though? Like,
it's the tension. Like I just sometimes even in spicy books, it's not even that gratifying when they actually hook up. It's the build. It's that build before they do. And so with enemies to lovers, it's just that really good tension every time they're arguing with each other. You want to be like, kiss, just kiss.
Shove your faces together.
You have to be a little careful though with enemies to lovers. Sometimes for me, they go so far that I'm like, if you're going to be that mean to me, I'm not going to be like, wow, he's so cute. And I also don't think it's like a great message. Like, wow, he was totally abusive. You know what you should do now? Like, so I kind of think it's challenging to write because you just want to sort of toe the line.
But then also, like, what if he gets off by like her stepping on his throat when he's mean to her?
There's also that. We handle that in my most recent book. You'll love that.
Compartmentalization. Two things could be true at the same time.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's
Annabel,
right.
one thing, though, that I really appreciated in your book that was out last year, Summer Romance, I liked that it was actually quite easy love. So there was a main character who was coming out of a relationship and wasn't very treated well in her marriage, and then she met someone at the dog park, and he was actually like very tender with her. And I sort of love the idea that he was so open and endearing, and you're like, you just want her to move forward. Why is something like that important for you as a writer, to tell that place where it's all sort of easy and he's being very patient with her from the get?
You know, it's such a funny thing that you asked that question, because while I was writing that book, I was like, oh, is this not have enough things in it? Like, these are just people falling in love, and it's supposed to be fun. Because there is nothing better than a summer romance. If you haven't had one, make it this summer that you have one. Like, it's the best.
Even a problematic summer romance.
Even if it's problematic.
Oh, I'm that's what I'm up to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Annabelle said so it's okay.
Oh, no, I give you full.
We need merch. Annabelle said so, and then we could all get in problematic situations.
Totally.
Yeah.
Again, don't tell my husband.
Stamp of approval.
Anything for a story.
But I do think that, that sometimes it is, people are right together and you don't have the courage to take that next step. And that's what that book was sort of about. It was about like letting go of like all of that fear and, changing your life for something better. It's sort of softer than enemies to lover.
With all three of you, with your writing and characters that you've written, there is always that sort of fear or that what if. How important is that, and is that challenging for you to write? Like, does it bring up sort of stuff that you've gone through? Why is that important to sort of share that fear of like finally being open to letting go and falling in love?
I definitely heard characters that you've written.
Instead of written.
Yeah. I didn't hear the rest of that one. Anyone else want to go first?
What was it? So it's like, why do they fight it, basically?
Yeah, like there's always that fear of like, what if, and I'm going to get hurt, so I'm not going to say anything. And then as a reader, you get so frustrated because you're like, just try, and if it doesn't work, then heal and do the eat, pray, love thing. But
for me, like my characters need to go on their own personal journey, not just fall in love. Like the end result cannot just be that they fall in love and that's what makes them happy, because we all need to be happy with ourselves, I think, before we can truly be open to love. So,
This is the whole point.
yeah.
If you only remember one thing you heard today,
Yeah.
that's it.
These characters need to, go through their own situations and go like heal. Most of our characters probably have some sort of wound that they're, dealing with, or a trauma that they're trying to unpack still. So I like to give each character, the male and the female, some sort of arc of their own, so that when they come together at the end, it's that perfect moment of like they've healed and now they can find love.
Yeah, like when I craft my main character and the love interest, they have to be foils for each other, right? Like they have to find something in each other that they couldn't find on their own, but not in a way that like makes them like in need of that person forever, but just like showing a different side of themselves or the world that they could have seen like otherwise, but they never gave themselves a chance to. So I love like making those foils, and I think we all do that really well too. Like both our main characters and our love interests tend to like have their own like separate sort of things. Like one's not created for the other, which is so hard in romance because you want the two characters to have chemistry together, but you also want them to also have enough friction so that friction actually causes the tension to keep the reader reading. It's so difficult.
And I also think it's what it really is to fall in love. Like to fall in love, you're making...
Step on someone's throat, you're right.
It's all the throat stepping, all of it. But you're making yourself really vulnerable, and you always learn something. Sometimes it ends really badly, but you always learn something about yourself. So in a romance, if that doesn't happen, if it's just like, oh, we fell in love, yay, it's not as satisfying as we fell in love, and in the process, we both are in a better place.
Miley Cyrus says, "It's the climb,"
Okay, but she doesn't say it as well as that. Exactly.
I was like waiting for the max at the end of that, and that just didn't happen.
Yes. Also that it's the climax and the climb.
There we go. Cut out. We're here all day, folks.
Amy, if I may share that you have someone special here with you, and you're celebrating something somewhat monumental. Do you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, my husband is here in the front. Yeah, we're celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary. So
Gosh.
he doesn't come with me to a lot of these events, but I was like, 20 years, I guess I'll bring you.
Yeah. He put in this much time. He gets one event out of it.
He listened to all the audiobooks ahead of time, so he's all well informed. Ask him questions about the books. He'll know. He's up to date.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how does a romance author celebrate a monumental occasion like an anniversary?
We just make that hotel room our bitch.
That's why you're not staying at our hotel.
She had to get her own hotel.
No, my husband's going to hate that I'm telling this story. And I tell it when I go on my book tours, but he's not in the audience, so it's a lot easier. Kevin, just earmuffs. No, I have lots of people that are like, so you write spicy books. Like, is your life at home like super spicy? And I look them dead in the eye, and I'm like, nothing could be further from the truth. And the joy just seeps out of their face, and they're just so disappointed. But that's why sometimes fiction is better than reality.
What? You don't have a red room?
No,
What?
we've not frequented any sex clubs like I wrote in 7-Year Itch. Sorry to disappoint.
So when you write something like 7-Year Itch that really goes to town, if you will,
Really digs deep.
really get in there. How, like, are you ever thinking about, I mean, we spoke about this a bit earlier, but are you ever thinking about, like, who's on the other end of reading that? Is it, like, is your husband, you said he listens to the audiobook.
Yeah.
Is there sort of a reaction that has held you back? Or I know you mentioned to me also backstage, like, your mom has read your stuff. Are you held, obviously you're not held back.
Yeah, I was like, I
Wait a
just
second.
wrote a sex club rom-com.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not holding
held
back.
But how are you able to do that so freely? And, people that are here listening in the audience, if they want to start, I think a lot of us, let's get to the point, I think a lot of us think that there are certain topics that are very taboo. And something that I do with my writing as a columnist is trying to talk about these sticky subjects and make them more accessible to people, because it's very healthy to talk to people and talk to friends and stuff like that. So you're sharing these really spicy things in the book. What are you sort of hoping people could take away from that?
I just don't really care. I just write what I want to write. Now my grandma can't read my books, I'm like, hey grandma, just take a pass on this one. I think it'll be good for our relationship. But I think I'm very lucky. My grandma will literally buy a copy of my book and donate it to her local library every release. She is the sweetest. She doesn't even really know when my books come out. She's like, will you tell me when the book comes out? I need a copy to give to the library. And the library's in a town of 400 people. It's so sweet. That's my library story. Oh, I gave him a video earlier and I should have told that story. We got to re-rack that. But so I guess my family's all very supportive, because ultimately, yeah, these books are spicy, but for the most part, most of our lives are probably pretty normal. I'm married, I have a daughter, I take her to practice, I see her off to school every day. It's not as seedy or as taboo as some might think. It's just love stories that have some descriptive hot scenes, which we all have in real life. It's in some way or another. So, yeah.
And we all love having that one friend that's somewhat problematic and gets himself in these not seedy, like you said, situations. And we love hearing their stories and their tales. And it's also nice when you have been in a relationship or marriage for many years to hear sort of other people out on the dating scene for the most part in their stories.
I am not mature enough for this conversation right now.
She heard seed and she's like, oh, seed.
Earmuffs for Ashley.
But with that, all of your most recent books, well, all your books have sort of that best friend character. There's sort of there's someone on the side. We have the mains, and we're always talking about the mains in romance, but I think the friendships in the books are also equally important, and having support and knowing that even though, maybe there were enemies, to be open to love. How important is sort of the friends you write in or the best friend character in the books?
I mean, it's a romance. It's not just a romance with the hot guy with the magic dick that cures everything. It's also a romance with not only your best friend, but it's also a romance with the community that you write in the book, and it's a romance with the place. And it's called a romance because it's a character interacting with everything in the story, with the place, with their parents, with their best friends. And so I think that just narrowing romance down to it's just like a physical romantic relationship, and that's all romance is. No, romance is like a best friendship. I think those are some of my favorite romances are the ones that are just like, oh yeah, the guy's cool, he's kind of hot, but the best friend, like they're the OTP. They're the ones that are going to like end up in like a cottage somewhere when they're 80. It's not going to be her and the dude. It's going to be her and her best friend.
I think it's always important as a storyteller, just because you can bounce things off the best friend. In my recent book, it's a love story. My main character is so unhinged that the things that go through her head, you're like, wow, we should call someone.
And
So
all of her Pop-Tart eating.
she's like stressed out at work under her desk, shoving candy in her mouth. I mean, she makes a lot of bad choices. So for her to have a friend, it was actually more important than for any of my books, because it was like a grounding moment. And it's such a dream to have a friend like that who is like sees right through your crazy into like your very best self and is going to help you, kind of draw it out. But
Calls
she
you on your
needed it.
bullshit too.
Yes. Like, oh, we're going to do this again? Because basically your whole life is just like, oh, we're doing this again? Like, we're all making the same mistake over and over again. And the reason to have friends is so...
They can remind you and shame you.
Yes.
And then still be with you at the end
Yes.
after you've committed the sin again.
The
Clean up
voice
your
of
candy.
reason. The voice of reason.
Yeah.
I always call it that in my books. Like, there always has to be a voice of reason that helps the main character see the error of their ways, usually.
Or if the main character is the voice of reason, the best friend has to be the voice of like unreason.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yes.
Push you.
Exactly. No, let's have some fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like breaking them out of their comfort zone to go and do something new. And that's how they meet their love interest. And then the love interest dies because he gets hit by a car.
I'm learning so much. This is good.
I feel like we've written a whole script here already.
Right?
Yeah.
Ghost boners.
With the best friend, there's also the family. So in your most recent book, we have the Finnegans.
Yeah.
And that's a big family. And I sort of fell for the parents and how, like, even the dad especially was he was almost very, like, maternal in a way.
Yeah.
Why was that very important in telling your story, to showcase such a beautifully knit family?
I've been married almost 30 years. Not to upstage.
I was like, whoa, competition is on here.
My husband's not here again. So I wanted to write, like, they fall in love in this book very quickly. Like, the whole thing happens over a week. And I think a lot about the difference between long-term enduring love versus like, wow, that was hot. There's so many different kinds of love. And having been married for 1,000 years, it's quieter than I thought it was going to be. Like, the way we care for each other is quieter. Like, just remembering little things for each other, reminding each other things, leaving something in the refrigerator. I mean, it sounds boring, but it's like can swell your heart. And I wanted to write that family. And I didn't want to write a story about old people, but I did want to write those parents that have that kind of marriage.
Yeah, like this sort of catching glances, sort of having the delicate dance of how they move around each other in a kitchen or in a situation.
Yes. Or if you ever have been with a partner at a dinner party and someone at the table says something really stupid and you catch the eye of your partner and it's almost like you're just like, I cannot wait to talk about this later. Yes. That's the whole reason to be married for 30 years.
The shit talking.
Yeah, it's so good.
See, that's just why I have cats.
Yes, because you can get that glance.
Get that glance, they understand immediately.
They know.
You know what up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cats are the best shit talkers.
Sometimes we have animals that come into play in the books. Have little pets. Is that for like the loyalty element, or is that for like just a little like nod and wink to the audience just to make them feel like cozy in a book that's maybe a little more risque?
I swear it's just for the readers. Honestly, I'm like, the readers love a pet. Like,
Yeah.
don't you guys feel like, I feel like every time I write a pet in a book, the readers are like, they eat it up. They get attached. It's really cute.
I need more pets. I've only written one dog ever.
Yeah, but the dog the dog in that book created the romance because he peed on the guy at the dog park.
He did.
Oh yeah, that's
He
true.
did.
Because that's what you have to do to make your mark in the world.
Yeah.
The only way I've ever met a guy. Just, do you have a lot of pets in your books?
Yeah, I have a pet in every single one of my books. So in Dead Romantics is the good mayor of Marymount.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And then in 7 Year Slip, it's the two pigeons, Mother and Fucker. Mm-hmm. Cannot forget them. And then in A Novel Love Story, it's the bookstore cat Butterscotch. And in Sounds Like Love, it's the parents' terrible but lovely dogs, which take a back seat in the final version, but they were a lot more prevalent in other drafts. And then next year, I have a Canadian goose named Dammit.
Oh.
I cannot wait.
Pets reign supreme.
Truly.
Okay, so we're in 2025. There's terms like love bombing and gaslighting and all this stuff. As romance writers, what do you think of these terms that are being used to describe relationships, and how like problematic do you think that they are at the beginning of a relationship?
God, I have to give relationship advice now.
Yeah, you do.
I write fiction for a reason. I think I probably write problematic stuff with all of my characters, to be honest. Like, I'm sure my mountain man is love bombing his surrogate in 9-month contract because he just keeps buying her things, you know? And like, there's a lot of things I think in fiction we're like, you know, yes, love it, green flag. But in reality, we're like, red flag, cut, get out of there. So I guess it's like, you know, it's all about intention in the books. You know, usually there's a deeper reason that they're doing that. And whether that exists in real life, I'm not 100% sure of.
Wait, let me just ask. Is there a romance novel where gaslighting is really a great idea?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, some darker romances there are definitely like there's a lot of gaslighting that like turns into like this kind of toxic relationship.
Really?
Yeah, but it's still like considered romance.
I don't know, you guys.
But
Well, I feel like with romance writing, it's mostly the love bombing because characters tend to fall in love quite quickly. We only have a certain number of pages, and it could be somewhat problematic if people are like, oh, you have to fall in love or say I love you within the first week because you're stuck in a place together, so you get to know each other real quick. And so I feel like sometimes how like the difference between love bombing first like versus actual love to form.
Yeah.
I think especially when we do like forced proximity scenarios, that's one of the things that like you have to unpack when you're writing that is like, okay, how do I actively like make them like fit together, because like you are creating these characters yourself, and so it's not like a real world scenario, because this is fiction. We go to romance because there's a happy ending no matter what, because that's part of like what romance is. And so like I think it's just like being able to like look at that and inspect, okay, is this like love bombing? What does she get out of it? And does she do something for him as well? Like, is there like what is the power dynamic in this relationship? And I think love bombing, like the root of it is in the power dynamic. And so you have to always like be cognizant when you're writing these like, these like forced proximity scenarios, or like any kind of romance where there is like a set time limit. You have to be cognizant of like what is the power dynamic here, like who has the power, and what scenes where do they have the power at. So I think that is important, and we do think about that a lot. But also it's a romance and it's fiction, and we are allowed to like inspect things that maybe are red flags in real life, but could be like something that the reader wants to experience in fiction. So I think that's very powerful.
Are there any characters that any of you have left off that you want to pick back up, or you're worried about how maybe they turned out or how their life's going to unfold, or are you happy to pack them away once you send in your final draft?
I pretty much just keep going. Everybody gets a love story. You get a book, everybody gets a book.
You're the Oprah of love stories.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I get questions like with my sports romance Harris Brothers series, the dad of the family. See, this happens a lot. And I'm like, I'm like, so that's a senior romance, which I'm not against, but it's like, it's a big departure from what I currently write, and I'm just not sure all the readers would go on that journey with me. So
Someone has to have a knee replacement.
yeah, right. I'm like, I don't know what that's going to look like. It's like writing books is not easy for me. Like, I swear, I'm always surprised every time I finish a book. I never think it's going to happen. So for me, I have to really be invested in the couple and know that it's going to sell, because I about killed myself writing it. So I get nervous that, Von Harris, the dad of the Harris family, maybe wouldn't sell as well, and that would be a lot of work to be disappointed. But I mean, all right, we'll see. Maybe a little novella someday.
A silver fox daddy.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
come on. I put characters from my previous adult novels into my later ones as because the passage of time in the Ashley Poston verse moves on, and so in 7 Year Slip there's some characters from the Dead Romantics that take a backseat role, but none of the cameos have anything to do with the story in question, because I think that that's a disservice to the new readers coming in, right? So it's that balance of oh yeah, you want to put in Easter eggs, but you also want to make a story that if you didn't read the Dead Romantics and you read 7 Year Slip first, that's perfectly fine, and you're not not getting inside jokes or anything. So, but I think that's one of the best parts about writing in a bigger sort of universe, is that you can just slip in other people.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't love a sequel. I will just say that.
Same. I do not love a sequel.
I get asked a lot for a sequel to Nora Goes Off Script, which is a book from
No, that
4
was
years
perfect
ago.
ending.
I'm like, it literally broke me to get those people back together. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, was bringing those two people back together at the end of that book. You want me to write a sequel? They're going to have to break up again?
Yes.
Yeah. I am not strong enough for that kind of a thing. So I'm not a sequel person. I would write a book about Clem, the friend that you mentioned from It's a Love Story. Mm-hmm. I think she's primed for something a little bit better in her life. But I don't know. I don't have any plans to do that.
Because she's basically living on the couch of the main character, right?
She's like a geriatric nurse
And bartender.
And a bartender, because she likes to care for frail people. I mean, she could use a really nice guy.
I mean, I have a little Clem in me. I feel like I like to care for frail people too. Well, we were talking about before how
You're getting yours now.
Yeah, exactly.
we were talking about in my dating history in my 30s, that I found every partner that I had was someone that I'd try to fix or help them through their trauma at the expense of myself. And it's really interesting when you write about romance and advise people for a living, and you catch yourself doing the very human thing. Mm-hmm. And I think, so now I'm not, and now I'm having a good time. But,
Good, you deserve it.
Thanks so much, everyone, for your support here. Thanks for your service. But, it is sort of important to be tender and have care. So before we wrap up, is there a moment in any of the books that either of you guys have written that really resonated with you, or a quote from it that you recall that you find resonates, that you kind of want to leave the audience off with?
I can't quote my own books. Are you kidding me?
Oh, you gotta. Or perhaps, I mean, you don't need to quote your own book, but sort of something that really resonates that could help people when they are going through something a bit tender.
I can go first if you need to think.
Amy, you're the best.
I was not it.
Should I just walk off this stage?
No, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I unpack my own traumas in my books as well. And so my Mountain Men series starts off, and the brothers have lost their dad semi-recently, about 2 years prior. And I had lost my dad literally about 2 years prior. And it's funny because it's not funny, it's sad. But every year in the book, every brother's book moves on another year. And so it's been interesting to explore my grief process through these brothers' grief process, and it's kind of mirroring what I'm experiencing. And I literally steal from my own life all the time for my books. And a saying that my dad always said was, "We're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time." And so that's kind of the phrase that these brothers hold on to as they're navigating these romance relationships, their lives, like what would dad say, And so it's just like such a nod to my dad. And so I love that quote. And I'm going to get a tattoo, like probably on my neck sometime, just.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yes,
It's gonna be
yes,
like
nice
a
and
choker.
thick.
You do friendship ones.
Yes,
Yeah, right
yes.
there. Perfect.
This is what rom-com's all about. You hit them with the feels, and then you make them laugh at the end.
Exactly.
Right? It's perfect.
It's a pendulum. Pendulum. You have to swing back and forth.
I'll think of the perfect thing as soon as I walk out of here. That's how I roll. But I
can
will
go
say
next if
that
you wanna
this
keep
book and the book that I'm writing right now for next year are a lot about putting down the heavy things that we're carrying, and about all the things that are said to us as we're growing up, and all the things that people say to us about ourselves that we then move forward and make true. And it's sort of, I can't think of a line from either of the books, but it's about looking at all those things and your own self-perception, and just asking, like, where did I get that idea about myself, and is it even true? And it would be a really good exercise for everybody to do today. Like, where did I hear that?
Serious unpacking going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess for Sounds Like Love, there's an overture about creative burnout and being and like falling out of love with like the thing that fulfills you the most. And like for me, for a long time, it was writing. I love writing. It's the one thing that feels like correct in the world, is like me when I'm in a story. And so when I was writing Sounds Like Love, I had this creative burnout so bad that I didn't think I could write anymore. I was like, editor, can I just like go into the woods and grow mushrooms and never be seen from again? Mushrooms don't need help growing, so that's A+ for me. And she was like, no, just take a week off. And so I did. And I found in that week that like I had fallen out of love with like just the act of like storytelling and creating and writing. And so I guess like the one takeaway is that if you find yourself burnt out by the one thing that you love, allow yourself to like grieve the loss of that. Don't just keep pushing forward and keep trying to grieve the loss of it, and then like figure out how to meet like that creativity again. It might not look the same. You might have to do something different. And just Sounds Like Love across the board is about grief and like letting go and like accepting things as they are instead of the way you want them to be. I think there's a quote that's called "Grief is a love song in reverse." So that's my quote.
God,
That's a good one.
so good.
It is really
Thank you.
We're good.